Are you having problems at school? Is there a problem that you need solved, but you don't really know how to go about it? Need some assistance? Go visit the school's local club, the Sketodon. This is Sket Dance Season 1 Review. Let's go! Sket Dance, you can't do that! So yo, what's up guys, Insane Gamefreak here to bring you a Sket Dance Season Review, yay! Okay, no one really gives a shit because it's fucking Sket Dance. Sket Dance hasn't gotten enough exposure yet. So this is my way of exposure by reviewing the first season. Now the first season is episodes 1 through 51. Now Sket Dance doesn't have an American license as of this review, as of me recording this review, but you can watch it on Crunchyroll. You can watch the entire series on Crunchyroll, and it's actually currently ongoing. Currently, it's almost at 60 episodes. I'm only reviewing the first 51 because that is the first season, and that's the stuff we need to address. Now, what Sket Dance is it's a Shonen Jump manga, which you wouldn't be able to tell considering what the subject matter is. The subject matter is pretty simple. You have a club in school composed of 3 people, Bosun, Himiko, and Switch. This club is called the Sketodon, which is a pun on the term help me, or like help support group, because Sket, the word Sket is coming from Taskete, which is help me in Japanese, or just help in Japanese. That's the whole joke behind the name Sketdan. I believe the 3 letters of Sket mean support, kindness, encouragement, and troubleshoot. They're just a group who get random requests and help people with those requests. Doesn't this sound like something familiar? It's Katsura, not Zura! Yeah, that's what I was thinking. No, it's not. It is similar to said show, another famous Shonen Jump manga that is in Shonen Jump and that is currently ongoing and that is known for having 3 characters doing odd jobs. But this series is a little different in the sense that it's a lot less serious. The show doesn't really have any really serious arcs. Honestly, the highlights of the first season are backstories, ironically. But to really get out of that, let's just cover our main 3 characters. Bosun, Himiko, and Switch. Bosun is the leader, and Bosun has a lot of running jokes. The most obvious one is that he is the weakest character in the series. And you're probably thinking, Shonen Jump manga, weak main protagonist that doesn't get any stronger. Impossible! But that is the fact. He is the weakest character, and he hasn't gotten any stronger in the course of like 50-something episodes that I have seen of the show. That's his joke. He's not going to get any stronger. The only gimmick he has in terms of fighting ability is he has an incredible ability to concentrate really, really well, which seems really, really dumb until you watch it. Sket Dance is actually, that's kind of the whole thing with the show. The show's premise isn't really enough to grab people. You actually got to sit down and watch it in order to understand why it's such a good show and why I enjoy it so fucking much. I enjoyed it so much that I'm actually doing reviews of the episodes weekly on my second channel, link in the description. Shameless plug, I don't give a fuck. But Bosun is kind of a typical Shonen Jump hero in almost every other regard because he's pretty dense when it comes to delicacy around women. But at the same time, he's probably smarter than most Shonen Jump heroes because he's pretty resourceful almost in every other way but fighting. Literally, he's almost resourceful in every other way. He's the one mainly coming up with the plans and everything, and kind of the one who's like he's kind of the strategist. Like, he can kind of figure shit out if you're ever in a tight spot. But the times where you do need to fight is when you have our female character come in, Himiko. Now Himiko is actually a typical tsundere for the most part. Himiko is like a blonde-haired chick who fights with a hockey stick. Now, it doesn't look like a traditional hockey stick. I guess in Japan, their hockey sticks look like fucking canes, because that's what Himiko's hockey stick looks like. A fucking blue cane. It's weird as shit. She's actually known to be this chick known as the Onihime because, let's just say Himiko hasn't had the best of past, which honestly could be said about all 3 of the main characters, but we'll get into that when we get into that. Himiko is very weird. She's an Osakan girl, which I guess would translate into America as she's country as shit. She's fairly country, but she's very weird. Like, she's very violent, but at the same time she's very nice and relaxed and kind of caring, and she has like a really sweet and cute moments. her gimmick is the fact that she's fucking violent as shit, and she has a tendency to talk really, really fast and make a lot of random ass references and shit. She's just weird like that. Now we have Switch, the dude with the glasses. Switch is very weird in the sense that Switch doesn't talk, at least with his own voice. Switch uses a computer to speak and has never talked. Like he just refuses to speak. Why that is, you find out later in the season. But as of right now, all you need to know is that Switch refuses to speak and talks with a laptop. Ironically, he's also voiced. His voice actor is also the voice actor of another popular Shonen Jump series that a lot of people relate Sket Dance to. They won't let them separate themselves. I don't know what it is. They can't let that bitch get away. They just have to fucking follow him like a bitch. It's ridiculous. Switch is an otaku. He's a very nerdy otaku. He's very tech heavy and he's very anime heavy. He's like the anime geek of the group, who is really kind of good for information gathering, giving you the intel on everything you need to know. And he's also the dude who tells you about the weirdest anime contraptions. He also seems to be into the weird set of anime. Like, he's into the whole Oni-chan type of anime or the fucking random magical girl animes with pregnant female protagonists. Nervous. I don't fucking know. And these are really the three mains. Now, the thing about Sket Dance is that Sket Dance is very character heavy. Sket Dance doesn't really rely on fights. Sket Dance doesn't rely on fights or really, really ridiculous plots. It relies on character-driven situations because the biggest thing about Sket Dance is that Sket Dance doesn't really have that many serious, like, let's put it this way. Sket Dance has like two types of requests. Comedy requests, and serious requests. Comedy requests are literally the majority of the requests, which are either you helping out a fellow student or that usually ends up being a comedic thing because of how that student's quirks are. And then you have serious requests, which are legitimately serious issues that are coming up dealing with high school life and high school drama. Like, there's one relating to jealousy and girls fighting against each other because of certain boys that they both liked. There are also requests for dealing with there's a character who wants to become popular, but he doesn't really know how to do with it, so he ends up doing a lot of fucked up things to become popular. Now, when I say fucked up things, you have to take that into Sket Dance language, which really means it's fucked up realistically, but it's not really that fucked up in the whole scale of ridiculousness. And that's the whole thing about Sket Dance. Sket Dance is a show that isn't really a lot of people wouldn't really consider like a hardcore shonen because of how relaxed and chilled it is and campy as fuck. One of the biggest complaints about Sket Dance, besides the obvious, it's not shonen enough, is the fact that it doesn't really represent these characters like people in that age group, because the characters in Sket Dance are like 17, and they don't act like the serious part. They don't act angsty at all. Like the biggest thing with them is that they act like children, like some 17-year-olds do. Like I think everyone as a teen acted like a child. They do that, but they don't do the other side where they're like stressing out or freaking out or having like normal teenage problems, and that's probably the hardest thing about them. But the thing is, the character collaboration is so good. Like their interactions between the characters are so good. It doesn't really piss me off that they're not angsty enough, because honestly, Sket Dance isn't a show that you're supposed to watch when you're in a bad mood. You're supposed to watch Actually, it is a show you watch in a bad mood because it's supposed to get you out of a bad mood. It's a funny, chilled show. It's more of a comedy slice of life than it really is a shonen. But the shonen is just appealing to 15-year-old boys, younger boys, and it does appeal to them in different ways. Now let's kind of address the serious parts of the series, which is, the serious request. But the main thing and the main meat and the reason why Sket Dance has a pretty good following is through its backstories. Throughout the first season, you will get backstories for Himiko, Switch, and Balsam. The order you get them in is Switch, Himiko, Balsam. They all have fucked up backstories. It seems like, in terms of Shonen Jump series, every fucking character has to have a fucked up backstory. And Sket Dance surprisingly doesn't get away from that. Most of the characters in Sket Dance have fucked up backstories. Switches and Boston's are in particularly horrible. Not to put down Himiko's, but let's just say Himiko's is kind of stereotypical, and you kind of see it coming based off her personality. Switches really throws you off, and Boston's is just fucking horrible. Honestly, Boston's reminds me a lot of Boston's backstory reminds me a lot of Naruto's and a few of the key moments. I'm not really gonna go over that, but if you know Naruto's family history, then Boston's family history is gonna give you a huge Naruto kind of clicks because they relate very well with each other. So for Naruto fans, that's something to look forward to. Mind you, you don't get that backstory until near the end of the season. But that's really where the serious aspect of Sket Dance throws in is that you have these serious ass backstories where there's virtually no comedy, if at all, and you're just dealing with why the characters act certain ways. For example, Boston wears this hat and goggles, which is kind of his thing. That comes from things in the backstories. Switch talking on the computer, backstory driven. The fact that Himiko's hair is blonde and the bitch carries around a hockey stick to beat shit out of people. Also, the fact that she's had a nickname called the Otahime. Backstory. You know, it's like that. You learn why these characters act certain ways and why they have these certain gimmicks through watching the backstories. So, I mean, there are a lot of other characters I'm not mentioning. But the reason why I'm not mentioning them is because they're introduced in almost every damn episode. Almost every episode you're getting introduced, at least in the first 13 episodes, you're getting introduced to all the main characters. Like, there's a samurai who contradicts himself by being tech heavy. There is a girl who is literally a parody from The Grudge, which is the one thing I haven't mentioned yet. Sket Dance obviously is a comedy series. I've mentioned this before. But it does almost the same thing as this other show it's related to a lot does, which is, in fact, doing a lot of fucking parodies. A lot of fucking jokes about other anime and manga. Mind you, it's not as ridiculous as, say, fuck it. At this point, I'm not even going to keep the joke running, Gintama. It's not as ridiculous as Gintama's, but they're still there and they're still pretty funny. Some of them are still obscure as shit, just like Gintama's jokes are, but it's still enjoyable. Now, the reason why I kind of say I don't like to compare these two, but at the same time I do, is the fact that Sket Dance does have a lot of relationship with Gintama. But at the same time, Sket Dance, the reason why I like Sket Dance so much, and the reason why I kind of like the character dynamic in Sket Dance a lot more than Gintama, at least at the beginning, is because Sket Dance made a name for itself by not being the norm. Sket Dance is like the furthest Shonen Jump series in Shonen Jump as of right now, and that's why it works so fucking well. The thing about Sket Dance is that Sket Dance doesn't try to fucking go off on these ridiculous battles, doesn't try to become this ridiculous ass shonen. It sticks to what it's good at, and it focuses on not trying to follow the. It's one of those shows. It reminds me of my YouTube channel in a sense that it's not trying to follow the trends. It's trying to make its own trends and continue onward. Because if you know of George or Shonen the Jumper, you know that when he does the weekly Shonen Jump rankings, Sket Dance never hits high, but it never gets so fucking low that you hate the series. That's the way I feel like it is with my YouTube channel. I'm not really appealing to the Naruto, Bleach, One Piece crowd, which is the easiest crowd, but at the same time, I'm doing shit my own way and getting a fan base that way. And I think that I respect that about Sket Dance. The Sket Dance didn't try to sit there and be like, I'm going to throw in these ridiculous ass fights so I can appeal to the One Piece, Bleach, Naruto crowd, or like any of that other shit. Sket Dance is purely like slice of life comedy with some serious aspects into it. And a little bit of romance because almost every Shonen Jump. Like, it doesn't try to just ignore all Shonen Jump things. It just, I like the fact that Boston is a parody of a Shonen Jump hero. He's a badass in almost every other way, but the way that most Shonen Jump heroes are badasses. Fighting. Luffy is like a dead piece of shit in every other way, but fighting. The same thing with but it's like the reverse with Boston. Boston is like a G to everything but fighting. Boston can't fight for shit. He's made fun of for not fighting for shit. Also, Boston can't take criticism, which is almost the exact opposite of some, well, not all Shonen Jump heroes, but some. Like, I think him and Naruto have the same problem, except Boston's is like a really, really exaggerated. Like, Boston can't take a shit ton, can't take any criticism for fuck. Like, and the joke that keeps reoccurring with him is the fact that, like, people keep calling him a disgusting worm or a pathetic bug. It's like, they constantly do this. Because he can't, he's emotionally wounded very easily. Like, you really only have to say one mean thing to Boston before he'll start crying. I like the fact that Himiko is a very weird character. She's not so much. She's not really a bitchy character. Like she doesn't hate on Boston. There's actually a lot of pairings with her and Boston, and another character that won't be that you guys won't know until season 2. But Himiko is like tsundere, but she never got to like Sakura levels of like she hits Boston, but it's usually when Boston deserves it, and it's usually under like a normal pretense. And the difference is that Himiko openly respects Boston. She may get on Boston for obvious reasons, but that's because they're friends. Like you feel like there's a genuine friendship between the three characters because they're all willing to take pot shots at each other. They're all willing to like do all these random things with each other and follow. And you can see that Switch and Himiko both have respect for Boston because they're willing to fucking follow him through all of this shit. I mean, because the idea for the club came from fucking Boston. And obviously these aren't their real names. Switch's, I believe, is Usui Kazuoshi. Himiko's is Onizuka Hime, and Boston's real name is Fujisaki Yusuke. But I like the fact that Sket Dance doesn't try to be shonen, like heavy shonen jump. Now, mind you, some of the aspects it's missing is kind of, like you kind of wish there were fights. You kind of wish there were like epic moments. You kind of wish the series got a little bit more serious than it is. But at the same time, it kind of ruins the appeal of Sket Dance. Like I'll compare it to another show that just recently came out, and I said this. I've been saying this in my anime Real Talk TV weekly discussions. Madaka Box has almost the same kind of premise as Sket Dance. The difference is that Madaka Box is like overly shonen, and it makes you watch Madaka Box and watch Sket Dance, and you'll realize how much you like why Sket Dance, why you like Sket Dance. Like if you're a Sket Dance fan, if you watch Madaka Box, you'll see why you like Sket Dance so much, because Sket Dance didn't try to follow a trend. But I'm kind of rambling, but just say you're introduced to a lot of characters, you get some interesting backstory on your characters that the three main characters, and you have a lot of rival characters and a lot of plot twists and things. Because don't get it twisted. It may be a comedy slice of life with like mild touches of dark shit, but there are a lot of plot twists that will throw you off. Mainly with the backstories and mainly with certain characters, but you'll enjoy them either way. And they're fun as shit. Do not read spoilers, but I will say this. Do not read spoilers for Sket Dance. Why? Because Sket Dance doesn't have a lot of them like the bigger shonen do. Meaning if you spoil like 2 or 3 of Sket Dance's spoilers, it kind of fucks you over for certain parts in the series. The pure play example of this is I actually read Boston's backstory in the manga before I actually read it. I watched it in the anime, so by proxy, I didn't get like the full shock value I got with like Switch's and Himiko's backstories. Because when I saw those in the anime, that was the first time I seen them. Also, just as a side note, you can't really buy this show because it doesn't have an American license in any way, shape, or form as a manga or an anime. I'm hoping to get to push this show enough so it does get a license. So I would particularly say push this to Funimation if you like the show. If you don't, tell me if you're going to check it out. Tell me what you think. I'll leave a link to Crunchyroll where you can watch all the episodes for free. For fucking free. I want that to be known. The only thing you can't do is watch like the most up-to-date episode. But in terms of catching up and getting to the up-to-date episodes, you can watch those for free. Those don't, because they've already been out. And they shouldn't have a region lock on them. I'm not sure. I've heard that. If they do, please tell me in the description. But from my knowledge, they don't have region locks on them. Because obviously it doesn't have a license in America. So obviously no American company has been like, yeah, you can't show this here. And like, they haven't done that yet. But yeah, that's Sket Dance in a nutshell. So that's my season 1 review. It's a good show. It's fun as hell to watch. If you're looking for something that's different and something that carries the spirit of certain Shonen Jump series, mainly if you're a Gintama fan, you'll probably like Sket Dance. Just all you gotta really do is tone down Gintama. Like if you think Gintama is a little bit too crazy for you, watch Sket Dance. Sket Dance is a good balance between crazy and like normal-ish shit. And you should love the character dynamic. But just tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. This has been the Insane Game Freak. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you bros and broettes later. I should be like dudes and dudettes. I don't fucking know. Sket Dance, what's so awesome?
Peace.